All right, today in Bible, we're going to be talking about the sin of grumbling. And we're going to be in Exodus 15. So while I'm reading this first part, if you want to get your Bible, you can. If not, you can just wait, and I'm going to show you it in mine. So follow along with me. You should have this paper by now. God loved his people so much. He had given them such a great leader. He had done great miracles to show them how much he cared. But because they were not thankful in their hearts, they began to grow unhappy. They began to find problems instead of blessings. In just 3 days after God had brought them through the Red Sea on dry land, they began to grumble against God and against Moses. So in Exodus 15, 22 through 25, I'm going to read. Then Moses led Israel on from the Red Sea, and they went out into the wilderness of Shur. They journeyed for 3 days in the wilderness without finding water. Now, I have to admit, that's a while to go without water, and probably being a human, I would have complained as well. They came to Marah, but they couldn't drink that water because at Marah it was bitter, and that's why it is named Marah. The people grumbled to Moses, "What are we going to drink?" So he cried out to the Lord, and the Lord showed him a tree. When he threw it into the water became drinkable. And he made a statute and an ordinance for them at Marah, and he tested them there. Okay, so let's go back over to our paper, and we're going to answer these questions. It said, what did the Israelites need? What was something that they needed? And something that we need as well. Water. So I'm going to just write my answers on this paper and not use that one. So they needed water. What was wrong with that water at Marah? It's really the meaning of the word Marah. That water was bitter. So the water was bitter. Remember, you can always push pause if you need to write down what I have written. The next one says, what did the people do against Moses and against God? Not just Moses, but what did they do? What's the title of this page? Grumbling. So they grumbled. Okay. What did God have Moses do? First of all, Moses went to God and prayed. But after he prayed, what did God tell him to do? He said, get a tree and throw it into the water. The Lord showed him a tree. So Moses got a tree and put it in the water, or threw it in the water. Okay, seems like an odd thing to do, but that's what God says do. That's what you do, right? Okay, and what happened to the water? Because Moses put that tree in there. The water became drinkable, right? The water became drinkable. That means it was good to drink. And that able is a suffix. We'll throw a little grammar in there for you too. The water became drinkable. Okay? So on your paper, you can write down all those answers, push pause if you need to, but I'm going to move on because you can push pause. So we're going to circle the item that Moses cast into the water to make it sweet. Of course, we know it was the tree. Honey would make it sweet, right? Not a shoe and not a rock. Okay. Again, God had taken care of his people, and to show them how much he cared for them, where did he take them now? So let's look in verse 27, and that is here. It says, then they came to Elim, where there were 12 springs of water and 70 date palms, or palm trees, and they camped there by the water. And I'm betting this water was fresh, okay, coming out of a spring. So on this line, you're going to write, God took them to Elim, and they camped by the water. I'm going to underline that because, remember, that's what they needed at the beginning of this whole lesson. And now God's saying, okay, here you go. Here's some water for you. Let's just camp out by this water. What do you think the Israelites are going to do from this point on? I mean, they're pretty not complacent people. That means that they're not satisfied with what's been given to them. I mean, remember, they were in slavery for over 400 years. And 3 days after getting out of slavery, they start complaining. We don't have any water. I bet they were complaining. Maybe it was too hot. I don't know. Maybe they were used to the heat, right? Being in Egypt. But I know me, and I know that that's what I would have been complaining of. But if you remember our lesson from yesterday, why did they start complaining? Because they had not thanked God for his blessings. And when we stop to take time to thank God for what he's given us, we have a lot less to complain about, okay? So as you complete this today, again, take time to thank God for what he's given you. And I will talk to you tomorrow during Bible, and we will see what's going to happen during the rest of our lesson.